You're fired! Get out! Get out!
That's funny.
Greetings. Welcome back, everybody. It's time to grind through the end of the week. It's the Grinding Gear Podcast. I'm Garrett, joined, as always, by my partner in internet crimes, Kyle Ferguson. And that's not just like selling things on eBay that aren't actually the things we sell it is.
Right.
Really, some people, if you read comments on the internet, our crimes are actually rotations in video games as they're completed.
Wow.
But
Okay.
that's not why you're here today. You probably clicked on this because you saw the guest. You know who's sitting in the hot seat today. We are joined by a guest today, first time appearance here on the Grinding Gear Podcast, YouTube extraordinaire. You may have seen him react to some wonderful, wonderful video game music in a video on YouTube at some point. We're joined by MarcoMeatball.
Hey, what's up? Why did I do that? That was the silliest introduction.
Hey,
What's up?
welcome to the show, dude.
Yeah.
It's so great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
By the power of meeting people on YouTube, this podcast has happened.
I mean, listen, it's a lonely world. You gotta find it where you can find it.
It seems inherently social because of comments, but it's different. It's rare you come across other people that have been through the trenches you have been through at the regular intervals that you have been through them.
Yeah, I have not let up since I started. It actually, so Saturday is my 1 year anniversary of YouTube.
Oh wow, nice.
Damn. I was gonna say, how long you been doing it?
Oh, listen, I'm a Virgo. I don't skip beats. We move quickly.
Oh, it's all good because you have a healthy subscriber count, sir.
Yeah, I think in the next hour or so it'll be about 160,000.
Woo!
Yeah, but it's a funny thing, subscriber counts. Subscriber counts are weird. It can definitely, like, you see it and you're like, okay, and then you upload a video and you're like, wait. See, what's amazing is that you guys put out how many videos, like every day, but every other day,
We put out one video a week.
One video a week?
Main channel.
Oh,
But there's
We got
streams and side channels that
That's right.
all make
Yes, there's the clips channel, and then there's also the VOD channel, because unless it's a major MSQ moment, full length stream, it kind of hurts our channel. So if you've ever sat out there and wondered what the hell's going on with Grinding Gear's VOD channel, why are some of those full streams over on the main channel and the rest are relegated over to the extra channel? It's because only the big stuff is live on the main channel because it performs well.
that's the thing. Performance is a funny thing, you know what I mean? And I think what I love is that, like, you all, and I was mentioning to you earlier, like I feel like your community is so amazingly reliable and consistent and like appreciative. And my community is appreciative too, but like, because I have like multi-niche, sometimes it's hard because, like, one video will do 1,000 views and the next one will be like 60, 80, 70, you know what I mean? It's just a funny thing. And I find it really admirable when people focus in on, and I know you have like your like news chat where you talk about what's going on and stuff, but like, it's crazy how when you focus in, it's both a blessing and a curse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's content creation 101, especially in the video game space. If
You're scrolling through my.
I am. You have amazing thumbnails. I love your thumbnails.
My thumbnail artist. He's a Brazilian guy, and he like reached out to me. If you go all the way at the bottom, you can see just how I was just like on Canva, just making.
Sure, I mean, that's how we all start, right? Like the content will speak for itself. I don't, like, this is good content. All you got to do is open the packaging, but it is a packaging exercise. You got to get people to, to click through, to want to open that Hot Wheels inside.
That's right.
It's basically a loot box, right? Like, they don't know what's inside. All they know is the minute mark, the title, and the picture you give them.
Yeah.
I love the progression of your thumbnails, because your recent thumbnails are god tier.
Yeah, they're really good.
Exceptionally designed.
My first video does Final Fantasy 14 work on a Mac M1? I don't even count that as the.
It's so innocent. I love this topic. Like, it's just like, hey, internet, I've got something to say. Like, this is what the internet was originally. You know, like without all the marketing and stuff. But I do.
Yeah.
Like, Garrett's not wrong. I'm not the artist, so maybe Garrett can use better words, and certainly I think we'll hear a lot of better words than I have to say today. But I love like the color intensity, like the blown out, this is going to be amazing and rock your face quality of your thumbnails.
Scroll up to the top. I'm worried about, I don't want you to see any spoiler, because everything I do has been Endwalker stuff, so I don't want you to. Scroll down a little bit. We have
a phrase in the room. It's called dude in a room. Dude in a room.
Dude in a room.
We have everything is so out of context, we have no idea what it means. It doesn't matter.
Nope.
Do you know how many times people have told us we've been spoiled? If you go back to kind of what I'm just going to deem in the history, in the pantheon of grinding gear lore, as the meme video, which is over a year ago now, when we were not even doing Final Fantasy content. We were trying our hand at weekly YouTube videos covering like one big gaming news topic that we found interesting. And we went through so many name changes during that period. But we put up a video called "Why Are WoW Players Leaving from Final Fantasy 14?" Mm-hmm. This has become a bit of a cornerstone of the journey we've been on for the last year plus now. In that video, it's Mimi in our community, because there's this dude named Garrett in that video going, "I'll tell you what I'm not doing right now. I'm sure as shit not playing Final Fantasy 14." That may have been timestamped many times and been called back to many times. But in that video, we watched the benchmark trailer for Endwalker. I don't remember anything. There's like a boat. Like,
there was stuff. Nothing. I remember people running. There was a big amount of running through ruins of some kind. But there's you can only do so much. But it's great to have you on here, because I know in my case, I don't really understand music. It certainly swells. It certainly has like an emotional reaction to me. I have grown up from 4Kids TV. Let's hear it again 100 times over. The same Yu-Gi-Oh song to Avatar Last Airbender, where you go, oh my God, unique music that plays based on the fight and who's fighting, like the themes interweave. So I find myself in Final Fantasy 14 with a lot of people who love Final Fantasy music.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I can't express why it's good. I can just go, that's a good one. That's a good one right there.
That one feels good. Yeah.
But before we've been bouncing around a little bit. Before we get going, like if you were to introduce yourself to people have never heard you, how would you let them know what you're up to?
Hello, my name is MarcoMeatball. That's my last name. I was an opera singer for a decade. I grew up in Italy as a child, and after that, I moved to the United States, and I didn't really know what I was going to do with my life. And then my mom, like in 7th grade, was like, you are going to go to this play camp because I don't want you playing Final Fantasy all summer. Literally. Like it must have been Final Fantasy 10 around that time, which was like around 2000 and
it's the only other Final Fantasy I've played.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, nice.
10, yeah, it's a good one.
Christmas I got a PS2 and I got 10.
Oh my God, that is so it all went downhill. So when we came back from Italy, actually, here I'll give you I won't do the TLDR version. I'll give you the full version.
Nice.
We come back from Italy when I'm 7. I do not speak English. I speak only Italian at this point. We come home. My grandparents give me a Super Nintendo. I was 7. That's the only way I can communicate with my cousins. That's it. It's a done deal. 1997, I get a PlayStation. There's literally a video, I should upload it, just me dancing. It's PlayStation!
You're an N64 kid, but with a PlayStation?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I should upload that video. That's a really good idea. Thank you for that. I'll credit you. And the first game I ever got was Star Wars Masters of Terracasa, because I was obsessed with Star Wars. And, oh my God, that game... awful. I'm pretty sure it's actually terrible. I don't think it's actually a very good game. Do you remember this game?
I played it like twice. My friend had it, and I'm a raging Star Wars fan. I like Star Wars like warts and all. I love Star Wars. That all I knew, I vaguely remembered it, and I remember thinking it was like not that great. And the only reason I still know of it is it's referenced in the Solo movie.
It's a fighting game?
Yes, it's a fighting game.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Look
it's
at
absurd.
This.
What's her face from Game of Thrones? Her character is supposedly trained in it, and there's like a one-liner that mentions it.
Oh my! I never saw Solo. That's hilarious.
Solo's a great movie.
Is it?
Woefully underrated in my
Look
opinion,
at this game.
Now we're getting sidetracked.
All right.
Anyway, sorry. So that's the first game I ever got on PlayStation, and then from then on, it was a done deal. And like for me, like it's odd, right? Because as a gamer growing up. So there's like 7 years of my life where I didn't have video games, where we lived in Italy. And then fast forward, I come to the United States and all I know is video games. And I remember sitting in the mall coming out of EB Games and grabbing Metal Gear Solid. And like, I remember literally, guys, I remember like holding Metal Gear Solid, like the white cover with the red lettering, just like staring at it in the mall, like looking down at it. I don't know, just like, and then I got Final Fantasy IX, and that was amazing. I was exposed to Final Fantasy VII by a friend. Then 8, I have a history with 8. It's weird. It's weird how as a child you sort of like associate with these, like I have these core memories of gaming. Anyway, I end up doing musicals. I fall in love with music. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go to college for this. I went to college for music. My parents wanted me to be a music education major. I said my last year of that, I said no. I left and I switched to performance. I discovered I loved opera, which was really strange for me because I went to undergrad for musical theater singing. I was like, oh, I'll be a Broadway person. And then I fell in love with opera. And then it was a series of events. That was in 2005. And then I was an opera singer for 10 years between training and performance and actually gigging around the country and in the world. And then when I'm 35, but when I turned 30, I decided that I needed to quit because my anxiety was really bad. And it was just not fun. And I had imposter syndrome. I had gone through like just rough stuff. And yeah, I don't know. A few years ago, I quit opera and I was like, what the hell do I do with my life? I became a voice actor. And then I started a YouTube channel when my dad passed away last year because I just needed a release. And then I did 3 videos. And then all of a sudden I was like, why am I getting YouTube notifications? And the thing just popped off and I've just been rolling ever since. It's been really weird.
Now I'm just going to quickly scroll all the way back to see when that's
not the Mac one
turnaround.
Oh,
February 11th of 2022.
That's a really fast amount of time to have your first video hit.
Yeah. I mean, it was within weeks. And I'm like, why am I getting notifications? What comment did I leave on some video that is now sending me notifications?
So at least on your channel, the third one is your One Winged Angel video.
Yeah.
Technically that's the second video. Kind of Salvation is what popped off.
Ah, okay.
From Near Replicant.
Presenting
wow.
Showing that it's a second video. But
and then you went straight into Elden Ring.
YouTube.
And then I just doubled down because it was right around the time that Elden Ring came out.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I need bingeable content. I grabbed, if you look, City Ruins is like one of my favorite songs. I love The Witcher 3. Someone said, why don't you do Regal Ancestor Spirit? I was like, okay. Elden Ring's cool. I did that to Xanarkand and the Regal Ancestor Spirit. So it all just like doubled down on itself. Then I started doing, Garamond the First Hunter, Ludwig the Holy Blade, the Genshin Impact stuff. Obviously, I'm pretty well known in that community. That sounds so egotistical, but
you haven't gotten to that part of the story yet. Yeah, well, we want to hear that too.
Yeah. So then I did that, and then Elden Beast really took off. And then I just started. I haven't stopped. I release a video a day. It is just such a pleasure to like talk about music. And honestly, when I started the YouTube channel, I really had a hate relationship with music and I didn't want to sing ever again. I didn't want to even, just between the anxiety and just the way that people behaved in the opera industry, which any performance industry is, I'm sure is horrible at times. And
it can be a little crushing.
Yeah. But also, like, how do you how do you review? How do you write reviews about people singing, or like how do you like coach? Like how do you perfect that? And that's something that over time has been really interesting to really think about, now being 4 years out of it. It's like we hyper analyze things and we review them and we break these things down and blah 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 blah. And it's like you lose the soul of the art, which is kind of what I try to do on the channel. Like, yes, I do have some ranking things because I'm a person with opinions. Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun.
It really is fun, isn't it? People get mad, though.
So much fun to rank. It is. Like, should that be the way you view the world and everything in it? Absolutely not.
No.
Like, is it fun to debate your favorite Frito flavor with your friend on the internet? Yes, it is.
Yeah. But I try really hard to, like, every piece. And I do stuff on there that I know is not going to get a lot of views, but it's really not about that for me. I mean, would I love every video to have, like, 30, 40,000 views? Yeah, of course. And it's hard to not take that personally. And like, you just have to like trust the process and like, that someone appreciates it. And that's what I've tried to hold on to. For me, the channel this is going to get sappy, but my dad and I were extremely close. And the reason, basically, like when my dad died, that was sort of ground zero for me. And I started over, like my whole life started over. And I have behind me, you can't see it, but there's a picture of my dad and I that I purposefully have the light there intentionally. It's a picture of us on the beach together walking. And for me, the channel and the way that I try to treat people in YouTube and in life in general is a reflection of the love that my dad gave me. And so when I talk about music, I know this is really like, when I talk about music, it's an extension of my father.
I was about to say, like, you sound like you're about to apologize. I'm going to tell you, like, don't.
I know.
It's so rare to connect with people this way on the internet.
No.
Yeah, this is me, man. This is so, yeah. So I try really hard to like really exemplify my dad's soul, since he's not around to share that. So with the music stuff, it's really, I try to really dive deep and let people feel, because that's music. And I think so often in society, we sort of like bury and push things down. But maybe for 7 minutes, or, ideally the whole video, but 2 minutes, they have a moment. I see the click-through rates. Hopefully for a moment, people can listen to their favorite video game music that we all have like this sort of like emotional response to, and can like just really feel. And that's the power of music. So anyway, that's my soapbox. Yeah.
It's a good soapbox.
That's the ethos of the channel, yeah.
That is one of the deepest answers I've ever heard to why did you start?
Yeah, well done.
Or like content in general,
yeah.
and not to downplay, but like it is literally
no.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like Kyle and I started making stuff together because we were bored.
Yeah, but you have friendship. You have the power of friendship.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah,
that bonds that keeps you rooted.
Yeah, no, we told that story a million times because, like, because we've found us having a foothold in YouTube is relatively new, but we've been working together for a long time. And when people find that out, they're like, "Wait, what? Really? Well, how long?" We're like, "Yeah, we were doing audio only podcasts like back in 2010 is when we started doing."
Oh my god.
So yeah, we were just like, we were just we were the only two people of a creative group that kept showing up. And we're like, all right, well, let's try something else. We started doing audio podcasts. But
I think that's the cool quality about your content is that kind of invite through the door, because opera does have that, like Transformers moving fast commercial quality to it. Like, it's magical and I'm not going to reveal my secrets. I'm a magician. And personally, for me, like the idea of singing in front of anybody is terrifying. Like I might improv. I might like, hang out, maybe a little bit. But if you're like, hey, sing me a song, dead inside, just like fully collapsed into my shell, just horrified. So the way you invite people in with these videos,
I love singing.
Oh man, it terrifies. It's like it's bearing your soul. And you were talking about like people reviewing that and the criticalness of like a news article like reviewing you in this really needly way that terrifies me. But you found this way to use that experience to communicate with the audience and show them something that they themselves don't understand. And it almost has that like documentary Carl Sagan kind of quality to it, where it's like, well, yeah, I feel air pressure, sure, but I don't know how to describe it. And so many times you find music where you're like, that's good. Why? I don't know. So in particular, I loved your video on the Darktide music because it was fascinating to watch someone from the outside of that community and kind of lore just be like, oh yeah, Imperium, of course. Oh, and then just like lay out the lore sheerly by listening to the music of the moment.
I think people sometimes ask, like, so truth be told, I have my fair share of imposter syndrome because I'm not a composer. And in fact, one of the reasons why I didn't do the thing, I had thought about it for like 3 years. I'm pivoting a slight tangent, but I'm coming right back because I know what we're talking about.
It's a podcast. Bring it.
Oh yeah. This is a podcast. Oh, I love to talk.
This does not need to live and die in a 15-minute
runtime.
Nope.
Okay,
about
perfect.
A single topic. Yeah.
Why do you think I have an editor? Because otherwise I'm just like, yes, but like sometimes there's imposter syndrome because there are so many people. Like, okay, you look at Alex Mukala, you look at Davi Vask, you look at Jesse's Auditorium, you look at Atlas. Like these guys are composers, or Tony drums, or drummer Tony. Like these guys, I think there's a real sometimes a bias between singers and like other musicians. And this is a thing that comes up a lot where it's like, oh, well, you're a singer. I was like, well, I'm actually a musician as well, but you, in fact, I remember I got a comment being like, who would listen to a singer? And I was like, well, at least 150,000 people would, so it was funny because I had clout at this point, so it didn't destroy my soul. But otherwise, if it happened like maybe like a year ago, I'd have been like, shit, he's right. Can I swear? Sorry.
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
Go for it. Yeah. Also, it's YouTube. We're past the first 15 seconds.
Oh yeah, that's right. Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we say fuck maybe like 17 times in a row, I think we're in trouble. But as
we
long
should
as we space it
fucking
out.
definitely shouldn't say that. Yeah. But so there is a bit of imposter syndrome with like the idea of like, okay, I'm a singer, so what can I bring to the table that the people that are already in the space don't? And one of the things I realized was that after a decade of both studying and actively performing, I understand, because opera, every emotion is inferred because the music dictates how, as a performer, you should feel. And inherently, you want to think around the music, but it's really hard when you listen to a piece like, Recondit Harmonia. It's a love song. Recondit Harmonia from Tosca. He comes in, his Cavaradossi is a painter. He comes in and he's painting the Madonna, but she's got blonde hair and blue eyes. And he's like, gosh, my Tosca, she's got brown eyes and brown hair. Amazing that I can find two women beautiful at the literally. So basically I'm summarizing. And then there's a high note and whatever. So, but like you instinctually over time, you understand, oh, well, this is a love song. He's a confident character. And so you're talking about Darktide or really anything on the channel. What I've come to realize is that some of my strengths, and you just kind of saw it, I'm very honest and I am very authentic. I'm very vulnerable. I've always been very vulnerable, which can be a positive thing and a negative thing in society because people will hurt you and people will take advantage of vulnerability because we live in a society that essentially shuns that sort of, being outspoken about emotion and stuff. And to talk about my dad really quickly, again, circling back to Warhammer, my dad never shied away from me expressing myself. And I remember when he was really sick, my mom was like, don't cry in front of him. And he was like, no, I want to see it. I want you to. And like, that is, so I've always been like this and I had permission to be. And so to talk about Darktide, it's like because of the opera experience and because I'm in touch with who I am as a person and my emotions, I'm able to decipher the context of it, because at the end of the day, like for instance, Jesper Kyd, like, I mean, he's a phenomenal composer, and all these composers in video games, Soken and everybody else is fantastic. But music hasn't changed that much, you know, in terms of like, if we understand that video game music's purpose is to guide the story, which is video game music classical music video. This is one of the questions, but I'm bringing it up now.
I just watched that. I love that video, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm a sucker for video essays, and that's a good one, like a really good one.
I'm trying really hard to pivot away from just analysis and reaction content, but also start bringing in, like, you guys are playing Dead Space, right? Aren't you?
Yes, I got to a really sweaty part the other night and had to turn it off.
It's very sweaty.
I was trying to relax. And,
it's very sweaty.
I was like, nope, this isn't doing it. I'm gonna turn this off and play Ragnarok instead, because I don't need to try that hard in Ragnarok.
But so like that's one of the video essays I'm planning on writing, is about like how the music of Dead Space. I'm gonna have the composer actually on the channel next week.
It's terrifying.
It's terrifying.
It's actually I think to, you know, with my understanding of music, which is basically not, it's very similar to Elden Ring to me, where I just feel constantly oppressed by the soundtrack.
Yeah,
it is just inherently unwelcoming. And everything sounds like it's just constant danger. Even in Elden Ring, I find it interesting because Elden Ring doesn't feel constantly dangerous, but the music makes it feel that.
I know, it's true.
And you can't relax during this? I don't know what you're talking about. Something about that doesn't
so peaceful.
Ease you into your evening.
No. No. There's times, there's been parts in Dead Space where I was like kind of vibing. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I got to the first regenerating bastard. I'm still there. I'm legitimately afraid to load back into that section. I don't know what to do, and I'm afraid.
We should stream that. I want to watch that. I want to see.
It's uncomfortable. But the music the music enhances so much of that, and every time you see a necromorph, there's like you know, that incredible like Kubrick
it's a tell too. I've noticed. I didn't play the original, so I have no idea if it was this damn hard to see the necromorphs in the original release of Dead Space, but they are hard to see sometimes.
They are
in this remake,
especially the babies.
But when the music changes, you know. Oh, somebody is trying to kill me. I just can't find them yet. So
someone's in here.
While it's deeply unsettling, it also is helpful.
It's a musical clue.
It's almost a part of the interface at that point. Like, might as well have the edge of the screen. Might as well start pulsing red.
Those damn babies, though. Seriously,
I hate them. I just did the spacewalk with the guns that shoot down the asteroids, and there's two of them. I thought there was one, and I died because I literally just couldn't see the other one. He just was like shooting me from God knows where. Yeah.
But so the point, I want to do more video essays, and I'm doing this video essay on how the music. And actually, there's just to pivot one more time. There's actually a study that I'm going to include in this video essay that a biologist studied fear and how if music and sound can elicit an emotional reaction, which the answer is obviously yes. And like fear, and like we think about the Jaws theme and things like that. Those things, the Jaws theme is 2 notes, obviously, and it's incredible how John Williams was able to elicit this incredible feeling of discomfort and stuff from minor key and whatever. So to circle back all the way back to this Warhammer topic, like, yes, one can deduce based on, especially in that Imperial Advance track, you feel the pulsation of the sort of the militaristic sense. You feel with lyrics, like with with the Shadowbringers thing, with the Shadowbringers theme, you feel with the lyrics, you can deduce based on my 10 years of analyzing lyrics literally every day, you can deduce like the subtext around it, and also it helps to have a healthy imagination, and that's really like that's kind of the secret sauce for what I've been able to do now. That was a very long answer.
No, well done.
It's awesome. I mean, it's funny. Kyle and I talk about art critique a lot because I went to art school and was,
oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yes, yeah. I have my bachelor's was technically in illustration, even though I ended up doing a lot more graphic design when I got out of school.
Yeah.
But almost every week we'd have at least one critique, if not multiple, where everyone would put their work up on the wall and it was time to go to town. But I would imagine with music, it's kind of the same. Where like, because to me, I don't know enough about music to critique it for the most. If you want to talk to me about like late 90s, early 2000s pop punk and emo, okay, yeah, I'm there. I can definitely do a somewhat intelligent critique of that style of music. But with something visual, well, it's the entire work is there in front of your eyes, and so it's very easy to kind of have a discussion about what you're looking at. Whereas when it's music, I mean, I guess you got to play it back, you got to rewind, you got to hit play, you got to hit pause, and kind of talk about things in pieces. And I'm sure it gets even more challenging if it's a mixed piece of music with a lot of different elements, whether it's different instruments, multiple vocalists, all that kind of a thing. There's a YouTuber I really like, who I'm blanking on the name of, who does this with popular rock music, but he actually usually gets the masters from somebody and breaks it down into each track.
Whoa.
Rick Beato, I think.
You make a really good point though, and it makes me think about how when you talking about like reviews and stuff, like, or like art, like breaking down art or looking at art, like I wonder, I guess this is actually a question for you, like, does it feel, because if I was doing like a jury where they assess my vocal like progress, which is also awful, like that's an awful system, and that's a whole separate conversation. But when I was singing, there's 2 folds that we all have, and they're incredibly tiny. And we make them do, as singers, we make them do incredible things that aren't normally possible. And it's like, one inherently will take criticism and critique incredibly personally, because I am the instrument. Like, I got 4 hours of sleep last night. I'm going to sound like shit today. Like, that's a fact. You know what I mean? So, like, for you, like, if someone's looking at your stuff, do you feel like, oh, well, screw you for hating my color choice? You know what I mean?
I mean, to this day, now as someone who puts out, audio and video programming, and people give me criticism on that. Yeah, it depends.
Really?
Kind of like, well, I mean, if it depends on the day I'm having, really. How much is my armor up? Like, did I get a good night's sleep, or was I, this week I had a cold the last 3 days. I have not felt like myself all week. We've got the biggest stream we've done in 3 months coming up tonight.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I saw some criticism this week, and I wanted to rip their heads off. But like a week ago, I didn't care. It was like, yeah, whatever. I'm not here. You can't please, 9.9 times out of 10, my advice to anybody is don't listen to them. Like, it's been parroted so many times. I think it's because it's really good advice. Is don't listen to anyone you wouldn't take advice from. Like, if you don't know them, like, for all you know, the person giving you a hard time is stopping by every damn video that they can find, giving them a hard time because they're having a bad day, and this is how they have chosen to spend their hours. Where, like, if someone I trust the opinion of, I've got a couple other podcaster friends and now we're meeting people who have done YouTube for a while. Like, if you came up to me at some point and was like, that last video, like, not your best, I might listen to that. I'd be like, okay. And then I would also, we're friends, I also have the opportunity to actually explore why you are feeling that way. And that was certainly something also we were afforded when I was in art school. In terms of that journey, it was the first time I had ever experienced it when I was a freshman. And it was definitely hard in the beginning to kind of subject yourself to that. But I mean, you get 3 of them under your belt. You're just like, yeah, this is what you expect. And you start to realize that in that case, because it is a critique, that is what you are there to do. It's entirely, the entire point of it is to help you progress, in that case as an artist. But yeah, it's so impossible to have a conversation about any art form, by the way, that doesn't start to sound a little like pretentious or overly
esoteric. And I know, I hear you though. I hear you.
Point where you need to break the rules, or personal style comes into play. But like I noticed that it became really fun. Learn. I was annoyed by it in the early stages of learning like the quote unquote traditional right way of doing things. But the more I got into it, the more fun that became, because once you understood the basics, like you knew when it was the right time to break the rules. Or you can be particularly pretentious and break the rules on purpose in a way that will piss your art friends off. But then they'll be like, wait, you did that on purpose, didn't you? Like tangents in graphic design. There's ways you can do that and play with it. You can screw with kerning on purpose. Saw a tequila label the other day that made me buy the bottle because it's called hiatus and the letters get further away on the logo. And I was just like, that's freaking brilliant. I'm buying this just based on the label. And it makes a pretty good margarita.
Would you say though that ultimately like what that really is just like healthy risk taking, like safe risk taking where you expand out, you know what I mean? Like you just push a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes I think that. A lot of times with me, like I know when I'm doing graphic design, sometimes I do something where I'm like, this would make my. There's still points where I'm like, oh, this would make my graphic design professor scream. A lot of times it's just me having fun. It's like playing around. It's riffing. It used to be in a lot of garage bands to bring in the musical terms, but it makes me think of going back then when we were just like in a crappy garage punk band and it didn't matter. Like, because no one was judging us. No one was expecting us to be good. So we felt free to fail.
It's a funny thing because I, in the most recent Lantern Rite Festival for Genshin Impact, I have a very, like I said earlier, like a lot of thankfully it's very split, but Genshin Impact has a very, very vocal and enthusiastic community. And I was really nervous because like my agent set it up so that I was able to get this opportunity. The casting director he was like, oh, I love his video. Oh, wait, he's a voice actor. Oh, and I was like, I am, please give me something. And so it worked out, and it just so happened completely by accident that they were casting this character named Dvorak, or Dvorak in English, in Americanized, and it's bizarre because it totally worked, but you know, it's funny because I take plenty of risks on the YouTube channel because I feel a sense of security with it now, because that's what happens as you like develop that sort of like community armor. I see all the GGs in the live chat, which you clearly have community armor, which is fantastic, and support, and it's really important. And so it allows you to take a little bit of risks and like try things, and especially like community members that will kindly veer you in the right direction. And so I was really nervous when Dvorak finally dropped, because I was like, oh man, I hope that this community likes it. And it was hilarious because like I remember I posted it and I was really excited. I like showed my mom at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, Mom, look, someone in Europe uploaded this, Mom. And she was like, wow, Dad would be so proud of you. And then I like was so nervous. I made like my little tweet. I love Twitter now. I'm obsessively just updating it all the time. And it was just so like, it felt like actually the community sort of galvanized around me. And I literally only read like 4 negative comments in what could have easily been, you know, oh, he's a YouTuber or he's not legit. No. I mean, I've put in the work and it can always be better. But I was grateful that, you know, yeah. You know, it's really funny actually, speaking of, being a little bit funny, like I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but when I did my 2 interviews with Peter Bramhill, who plays Thancred, and Luke Allen Gale, who plays Xenos, at the time I had my name in Final Fantasy XIV was like Grease Remonstad, which I don't know why GRIS is a name I really like, but I would literally
his name Tuna No Crust, so no judgment.
I would go into like the hub worlds like Limsa and Ul'dah and I'd be like, did you guys see that MarcoMeatball video with Thancred? And I would then like, in my community, we have a very small community in my Discord, and I was like, guys, like people said yes, and then I remember joining in like a leveling roulette or something, and someone was like, Marco? And I was like, yeah, that's me. Yeah. They were like, oh my god, I just watched that video, and I was like, yes, I did it. You know,
that's awesome.
Just so funny.
You did the
Tukey, get out of here.
You did the Twitch equivalent of when you win the match, screaming your Twitch channel. Well done. Well done.
Well, I tried to be classy. But yeah, I definitely was yelling that very loudly to anybody who would, and they'd be like, "Who?" And I'd be like, "Damn it!" Jokingly, of course.
That can always come back at you. That can always come back.
It can always come back
that
at
strategy. You can always be like, "Oh no one here knows who I'm talking about." Oof.
I remember I was doing a Genshin live stream and I made a joke about how I'll do these domains and I'll get in there and be like, "Do you know MarcoMeatball?" And they'll be like, "Who?" Because, it's like a million people community, like 40 million people. And then someone in my live stream was like, the comment that I got was like, "You should really humble yourself." And I was like, "It's a joke. Come on. You really think I'm over here like, you don't know my name?"
Oh my God.
It's so funny. Anyway, I don't know what the point of that was.
I
but
love that sort of humor, the like playing the jerk for a laugh. I do it often, and now I'm starting to wonder if people think I'm actually a jerk. No one ever calls me on it. No one ever calls me on it. And up until this point, I just thought they understood that it was humorous. And now I'm like, oh no, I might think that's just how I am.
You gotta have the slight tilt in the smile, a little bit of the glint in the eyes. That's the only way that dry sarcasm is tricky.
You need it.
It's tricky. It gets you in trouble.
Yep.
Anyway, I don't know what that story was.
Wait, that was a joke?
No, but it is still like one of those magical professions, like you'll say, "Oh, hey, I did a voiceover for a commercial," and people be like, "Oh, I guess there are human beings who talk into microphone." And you're like, have you never like watched an ad and said, "This new Sierra and tears through the mud"? You're like, someone pre-mixed that mud they could drive through.
Nowadays they just assume it's AI.
Maybe, well, that's AI a whole voice. Separate.
Yeah.
That is a rough.
We're going to be all out of work real soon. James Earl Jones already selling his voice off. As soon as every other famous actor sells their voice off, we're all doomed.
We all have that line, right? Like, I'm not the best artist in the world, so I'm like, AI art, how useful. I can animate my D&D games. I can't wait for it. But I see
and
AI
I'm sitting
voice
here seething.
I know. And then you talk about AI voice acting. I'm like, that's just the most villainous thing on the planet. That they're done. Let someone else have that role. That's someone else's chance to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
sorry. I saw it was I blink and miss it. I haven't read into it, but a little off topic thing here is I saw recently someone's working on AI that can like reverse engineer this stuff and find out the source of where everything came from, and I'm just like rooting for it. Like, yes, go, please.
That is very cool, but also like it's scary.
It is. This is the first time I've really like felt old, because I feel like if I was a little younger, I'd just be like, "That's wild," because it is cool. It is inherently cool. It is a hell of a feat of what artificial intelligence is capable of, and I think it could be a really cool tool. Like if I could have my own AI that I feed my own art into, and then it like generates a bunch of thumbnail ideas based on my style that I can then take and then go make art out of. Awesome. In a vacuum, it is such a cool tool. Mm-hmm. Taking all of human work and feeding it into it is terrifying.
I saw
absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, but also because like it's a little bit messed up just how good machine learning is. Like I think about this, I saw this TikTok making the rounds on Facebook, like voice over Facebook, and everyone was like, "Oh no!" And this guy, uploaded a video of his voice, and then he went into the app or whatever it was called, and and he literally like his isms were picked up like instantly. And he could have changed the pitch slightly, and it literally like he adjusted the like bandwidth of it. And I mean, we're gonna face a real problem with just the identity theft has always been an issue, certainly for like credit cards and all sorts of things. But I think now it's gonna be it's gonna be problematic. And
yeah, I thought the same about deepfakes too. And while it's certainly there have been issues, it hasn't been. I thought it was gonna be more widespread by now.
Yeah.
Like there's parts of it, and at least Hollywood seems to be regulating it pretty well. Like whether you like it or not, it's like I'm sure Mark Hamill had to sign off on them de-aging the, himself in the damn Mandalorian.
And even that, like the creators are sitting around being like, "What have we done? Like what have we created with this technology?"
Yeah. Yeah, there's gonna be some missteps along the way. Like,
yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
concerning. It's concerning.
It's mostly brought up as a joke, but it's an endless well of something I love thinking about, even if it terrifies me.
I know. It's yeah.
But getting back into the Marco meat of it all.
Oh, ooh, nice. Well done.
We're not going to dive full into questions here, but we did get a question that we can all get in on, and I see Kyle wanted to ask a little earlier. We can go around the table on this one, but it was put forward. Everyone wants to know what our favorite video game song is. Do you have one, Marco, or do you need to reflect?
So it like just changes on my mood, like, which makes sense, right? But like if I'm at the gym, I'm almost always, so I recently discovered Xenoblade Chronicles X, like, which I don't know anything about, but like it's like theme X it's a Hideyoki Sawano track, and it is just one of the biggest like bops ever. I also used to walk on the treadmill to In the Balance you don't know what that is. So Man in the Room. I also used to, you don't know what that is, and it doesn't matter. I also used to jam out to, it just depends on my mood. Like to Zenarkand is amazing. Like depending on how I'm feeling, you know what I mean? Like it just depends on my mood. So don't freak out. I didn't say anything, chat.
No,
it's fine.
Sometimes they're just memeing.
They're
Sometimes
just words.
just having fun with it.
They're just words.
Okay.
This is just having a fun with it. Yeah. If they were really mad, I think they would find a way to actually like forcibly remove you from this Discord call.
Like, get out. But yeah, so I don't really have a favorite anymore because there's just too many. Oh, but Unsung War from Ace Combat 5. Oh my god. If you've never heard it, oh my god. It is so good. Anyway.
You have a video about this, right? Because it's come up on my YouTube recommended, and I'm gonna be honest, I'll be like, I'll come back to this one. I know nothing about Ace Combat.
Oh. I thought Ace Combat was going to be the dumbest music ever. I got a recommendation for Zero from Ace Combat, and I was like, this is going to suck. Okay. All right. It's going to be like mechanical and like weird. Oh my God. It's castanets and like Spanish singing mixed with like the flamenco guitar. It is the craziest thing. Unsung War is just like an entire choir, and it's just the most incredible stuff I've ever heard.
So I just scrubbed through it for like 15 seconds while you were talking there, and that went places. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's like
we should sit here for 5 minutes and watch this. That's honestly, I would do that.
Oh my
That's
word.
how good it is.
For an Ace Combat game.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
It's a jet game. Jets are cool, but wow.
When the sky starts speaking Latin, you know that you've got problems. I mean, it's incredible. That's the meme. It's really good stuff.
Huh.
So that's my pick.
That's
honestly,
awesome.
Unsung War for me would be in my top 10 for sure.
My goodness. Kyle, do you have one?
Abyss Watchers from Dark Souls. That'd be Dark Souls 3.
Oh, Abyss Watchers.
Yeah, I think that is the most sad, beautiful song I've heard, and with the explosions of fire as the phase goes to phase 2 on the Abyss Watchers, it's like I was sad I beat it. Like I'm still sad that I defeated those poor guys. Like it, and there's a storyline of corruption. Like you're fighting the Abyss Watchers while they fight each other because corrupted versions are raising up until eventually kind of their spirits merge in one that has the flame, the fire, which is a big deal in Dark Souls. All about flames and fires and kindling and whatnot. And so I love in any video game where I have to put down something ancient. Like I think that's something that a lot of our games don't do very well, but you know, Zelda, Final Fantasies, there's this aspect of like, we got to kill it. But kind of like Godzilla, it's sort of our fault, and it's not really his problem that he's supersized. And yeah, they saved us from that other monster, but also they're destroying the city. So like, it's this melancholiness that is communicated through Abyss Watchers that I can't express beyond that. So I know you have a video on it too that we can point people towards. But
I do, yeah.
Yeah, but like, just an amazing song.
It's amazing that you remember it.
In the background while both of you have given your answers, listening to your answers because I am unfamiliar with both of them and I am having moments here. These tracks are intense.
I'm sort of shocked you remember any of the music from any FromSoft game, because I've reviewed many, and every time I do, I'm like, I played this. I don't remember any of this music. I think it's like because you're so like focused trying to not die. Like
God forbid they're also bastards and they do it to themselves, because if the song has a recognizable beat, they probably program the attacks to go on off the beat. So
yeah,
I've tried to not listen to music when I'm fighting things in Elden Ring, for example.
The famous example of that is Dancer of the Boreal Valley.
Dancer of the Boreal Valley,
which
yeah,
has a different tone than you fight on. So a lot of people who are audio minded have a lot of trouble. And there's always going to be different types of gamers out there. Like certainly with Here's the Storm, MOBAs, Dota, there are those who watch for visual cues, and there's more people who watch for audio cues. And all of us think the other was insane. Like I can't. Like, oh, you just wait for the little like flash that Sven does, and you're like, no, that's useless. What I need is the thing he does, and then now I know the attack's coming.
That's an interesting point though, because in the raids that you've done in Final Fantasy, are you watching who's the tank? Garrett, you're the tank, right?
I'm the tank, yeah.
Are you watching how are you basing like your positionals? Are you like watching the moves that they do?
Usually I'm trying to read. People tell me I don't read and it's become a meme, but I'm trying my damnedest to read. Going back to the first extreme we did in Final Fantasy 14, if anyone's, by the way, listen, because sometimes we have non-Final Fantasy players listen to this. Extremes are a hard mode for single bosses, which are called trials in Final Fantasy 14 for the uninitiated. When we did our very first extreme, it was Shinryu, which is a boss in the Stormblood expansion, and considered by many to be the hardest extreme. I know it's up for debate. I'm just trying to paint a picture. And it was tough. And I remember thinking to myself, why can't I pull my camera out more? Because Shinryu is locked to a certain side of the platform. And there are essentially like an icicle attack that comes from the opposite side. And you cannot, as a tank, have your camera far enough pulled out where you can see the icicle spawning if you're looking at Shinryu to get out of the way of any frontal positionals. However, I forget the actual name of the ability, but it is cast. And so you can see the ability casting it. Ever since then, ever since my first extreme, I make my eyes bleed trying to look for cast bars. Like if I see a cast bar, I am trying my damnedest to read it and find out what it's attached to.
Listen, tanking, I was a white mage for 500 hours of Final Fantasy 14, and then I streamed it, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And they let me know that I didn't know what I was doing. And then I switched to Samurai, and I was like, I'm not going back. It's not. So, I mean, I can't even fathom. Like, I have a Gunbreaker, like a level 80, and there is like a fun aspect to tanking, but my God, I give you a lot of credit for.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I was starting to think, because I recently learned Scholar, which is a healing job in Final Fantasy 14. And I was really enjoying it. I was like, oh, healer queues are so fast for roulettes. I'm going to start healing.
Yeah.
After one day of healing roulettes, I'm like, I can't watch tanks tank wrong. I can't do it. And everyone yells at me for plunge pulling. That is the least of everybody's concern. All these tanks out there not even using a single mitigation spell. What are you doing? Please plunge pull. Please. You can plunge pull all day as long as you use your damn mitigation. I can't do it. I just can't do it. And this comes from WoW. I am a WoW player. And maybe to some of you, this may seem like a toxic opinion. I'm a WoW player. I can't. I started tanking WoW because I couldn't take bad tanks anymore. And after trying to heal in in roulettes in Final Fantasy. I can't do it. I can't do it.
You saw a market.
Yeah. It's the same. It's the same reason I started singing in garage bands, because every singer we had was terrible. Listen, I'm not a good singer, but I'm better than you, and that's the same thing. It's the same reason I started tanking. I'm like, listen, I'm not going to be a world first tank, but I'm going to be a better tank than whoever I end up with in this roulette. That's what it comes down to.
But wait, to talk about singing, what's your favorite song though? We pivoted to Final Fantasy.
Oh, and music.
Yeah.
There's a lot of video game music I love, but I'm a simple man. And to me, I still think back on video game music that takes me back to my childhood. And Zelda's Lullaby calms me. And it links from my childhood to my adult life too, because I had nothing to do with this, even though I grew up a pretty big Zelda fan. My wife, Katie, that's what she chose to walk down the aisle to. And so it used to be a song that brought me back to my childhood. And now it makes me think of my wedding day. So yeah, I love Zelda's Lullaby. Like every version of it. Anytime there's a new Zelda Lullaby cover, unless it's like whatever the TikTok thing of the week is, like I never want to hear another shanty for the rest of my life.
Oh God,
I like the shanties.
I know you
once was a boy that
I mean, surely there are other shanties. I think that's the only offensive thing about the whole fad is that there are many shanties, not just that.
I love shanties when they're in a pirate game. I don't need them on my social media.
Have you seen the Dead Space one? There's a Dead Space Easter egg you can find.
Space one.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense because it's a ship.
Yeah, and they do the Ishimura, it's that, it's just some devs having a good time. It's organic fun is what it is. Like,
well, listen, Prometheus is one of the worst scripts ever, but Idris Elba having a little accordion and singing, it makes sense. They're on a ship. Well, get your accordion out. Let's go.
I say that's where we head next, because like clearly there are a lot of hardworking composers, and there's going to be in any movie like amazing effects, and you'll be like, wow, that was a great robot. Your movie was not great, but whoa, the costuming. So with all that kind of preface, Marco, what do you feel like is your least favorite music? Maybe one
country music.
Is there a video game country music? There's got to be a video game with country music in it.
It's more like score in Red Dead Redemption.
I know. I love that though. That's okay.
I love Western.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah,
oh my
Western
God,
music ends me.
You know what's funny? Someone said Country Roads in chat, and it's funny because when I was 13, I was part of this clan called the They Might Be Jedi, TMBJ. And that was based off of They Might Be Giants.
They Might Be Giants,
sure.
And it was all around Jedi Outcast, if anybody knows that game. Star Wars Jedi Outcast.
Love Jedi Outcast.
Yeah. And so there was a map made by one of the clanmates, and it was called Country Roads. And it played that song on loop. And so I have this Pavlovian response whenever I see or hear Country Roads. Well, first of all, that's John Denver? Yeah.
It's John Denver. Yeah.
And then what's really funny, just a segue, John Denver made an opera album with Placido Domingo, and that shit is weird. And terrible, actually. But yeah, country. Were you talking about in video games? Like, is there a video game?
I was asking in video games, but I've enjoyed this thread.
Yeah,
if anyone watched our last Friday stream, I'm curious, how do you feel about Imagine Dragons?
They were good. Like their first album was good.
They were good.
Okay.
The first album was good.
All right. Is it extremely like whoever watched our stream knows why this is funny. No one else knows why this is funny.
There.
Yeah. Just curious. We may have talked about Imagine Dragons for about 40 minutes on the stream last Friday.
What?
Kyle likes Imagine Dragons. I have a visceral negative response to hearing their music, and we had it out. We had it out on stream about Imagine Dragons. Yeah.
Now, let's say I wanted to critique a piece of music, and I want to sound smart. I want to use some big words, or even small words, right? Like one word I often hear is like often I see people in YouTube comments be like, "That was a bit muddy," and I'm like, The mud. Yeah, my microphone had mud in it. What sort of words would you use to describe something you were critiquing? Let's say you're critiquing Imagine Dragons. Do you want to? Not really, but what are some
I was about to go.
What are some keywords we could help the listening audience right now to better deduce their feelings on a musical piece?
Yeah. You know, some of the things that come. So I'm doing this musical Let's Play of Destiny, the Witch Queen, right now, and you know, I talk a lot about rhythmic pulse, forward momentum. When you know something that you feel. You know, when you're in a battle sequence. Oh, okay, perfect example is any battle theme in Final Fantasy. I don't know a single battle theme unless it's intentionally counter intuitive, where they're trying to what's it called? Oh my gosh. When they're trying to your expectations, they're trying to subvert. Thank you. Yes, hello. It is 4 hours of sleep, I told you. Subvert expectations. Every battle theme has rhythmic pulsation that is forward propelling and has forward momentum. And every battle theme is going to have intensity. Doesn't matter what kind of music, what kind of instruments. I'm thinking about like Octopath Traveler, which is super beautiful and it's very rustic in a way. That music always has forward momentum in battle themes. So other things you could think about, there's an amazing TED Talk that you should check out by Benjamin Zander that is called something. But in it, he plays a Chopin piano piece. And he talks about how like music can make us feel. And it's actually the basis of what I do. And so he plays the piece, and then he asks you to close your eyes, and he asks you to think about someone you love while he plays it. And he said, see, you can love, I think, classical music in that case, or you can feel music. That's a really good video to check out. But so, yeah, so put me on the spot here. It's really hard because if I don't hear a piece, I'm like, I have a hard time like something, okay. Something can feel really loving. This is how I tend to do things.
I see what you're doing. Like,
things.
It's like when someone says, speak a language to me, and you're like, well, what do you want me to say? Like, what? I need words to even begin this process. So I see what you're saying. It's kind of an impossible question.
Do you want to like play a piece of your choice, and we can like play right now, and you stop after 30 seconds?
Okay. I think let's
I think Kyle has the ability to do that.
Yeah,
not easily anyway.
Let's do
so yes, the transformative power of classical music. Yes,
it'd be very easy to kind of grab like one of the main themes, but let's do one of my little favorites here. Up the down, down the up staircase from Final Fantasy Heaven's Ward.
Oh, good choice.
Make sure you show the gameplay.
Oh, with the okay. So this would be when you're flying around the library.
Uh-huh. Okay. Pause right there really quick.
Okay.
You hear how, so first of all, the harpsichord, invariably, harpsichord, in what I've noticed in video game music, harpsichord tends to be aged. There's an age quality to it because when we relate to harpsichord, we think about the classical Baroque time period, which uses harpsichord a lot. So I've noticed that composers of video game music, when they tend to use harpsichord, they are inferring age, right? So also, do you hear how at the very end there's that pause, and then there's like playfulness. It's all over the place. It's like cascading. It could be falling. It could be anything. I've noticed that. So this is helpful to you because I can't like relay it, but I can like do it on the spot I don't know if it's helpful or not.
No, that was very helpful because you broke it down into the two spots that you were talking about. Like,
yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about with the harpsichord, and also now I'm like, oh, that's why it's always in vampire movies.
Actually, yes.
Right, you're thinking of it as like costuming. Like basically, we see an outfit and we go, oh, buckles. Thanksgiving. Yeah. And your brain goes, oh, the colonies and then the wigs, and you just start like putting it all together.
Yeah,
it's all of a time, right?
But then too,
I think this is why like things like I don't, as much as I loved at the time thinking of vampires, the Underworld movies maybe don't hold up as much because they just played over everything.
Oh God, the Underworld.
It was as oppressive as the blue freaking color wash they put over that whole movie.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh my God, that's true. But also, yeah, that doesn't work. Is there harpsichord in
those movies? When
Did
I was
you?
a kid though? Like when they were new and I was an angsty teenager, I was super into those movies.
Wasn't there was 3, right? Underworld 3 with like the lizard creatures.
They also did like a couple straight to DVD things. I think the Underworld got weird. They did a prequel. Yeah.
It's bad when you go straight to DVD.
Yes,
that's not good. That's not good.
Yes. I digress though.
Yeah. Did you want to play more of that?
Yeah.
Kyle,
No. Now I'm interested. Now I kind of want to see you keep going.
All right, stop there. Sorry. This is what I don't do on my channel because people do get annoyed when you stop and start constantly.
Oh,
when you stop and start constantly, it's like, why are you stopping every 10 seconds? Ah!
Well, you got something to say. Like,
we get that too. And I just ignore those people because like if you want to hear the thing Unbroken, just go listen to the thing Unbroken.
Can you also put the gameplay on there, by the way, Kyle, just for the sake of the square rules? I want to make sure you.
Oh, what's the square?
Is that the square rules?
You have to show Final Fantasy XIV gameplay while you play music.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for a Realm Reborn or 1.0 music, by the way.
No, yeah, that's
always get dinged for those.
That's really? The other composer. Yeah, the other composer is very aggressive on YouTube.
There's a Realm Reborn track, which I believe is a 1.0 track that plays on 2 of the 3 bosses in the Mount Gold dungeon, and our entire Mount Gold stream got demonetized as a result.
What?
Yeah.
Which
happens every time.
Which track? Well, don't play it.
Let me ask, because I was having a conversation with our clips editor about this exact problem.
I'm pretty sure it's frequently the Torn from the Heavens is one of the big
Torn
ones.
from the Heavens. Torn from the Heavens, which plays during Forgiven Cruelty and Forgiven Whimsy fights in Mount Gold, but it is sprinkled all over Final Fantasy XIV.
Torn from the Heavens has gotten claimed?
Yeah.
Every time it gets played, we get demonetized.
Who's the claimer? Well, we'll talk about this later, but
it's the composer. It's his brand that he left to work with.
It's an old composer, and I have no idea. I would love to talk to someone who actually knows how it all worked out, but he's under a different label. And
the Uematsu?
Yeah, exactly.
Claims everything. Yep.
Oh.
So we're very much on the outside, like a beloved figure, but from us coming into the game, we're like, well, you villain. How could you do this?
Uematsu, the reason why I became a classical musician, you traitorous.
Right?
That's weird because I have Torn from the Heavens in a video that Soken and leitmotifs, and I did not get claimed, so that's interesting. Or maybe I did and I just forgot. Well, anyway, the point is, so that one phrase there, see, this is also another thing I do. I'm trying to explain emotion through mimicking what I hear, which is really weird. But you hear this sort of like timely elegance. There's like an old. Again, we're still playing with the old quality because we're choosing. I think that's a violin, or whatever soundscape that's used. So when we have that sort of this long bowing here, that gives us this feeling of warmth and this feeling of a sort of like radiance. You know what I mean? There's like a sort of like not regality and like a king or a queen, but a very like it's proper. I forget. This is from a dungeon. Which one is it?
The Anti-Tower would be this one.
Oh.
So you're
Matoya's, right?
Right. So you're questing through to the Astral Sea at the kind of the far end. You're going to be fighting the Doll at the end.
Yeah. So you see, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very magical.
Yeah.
Kind of otherworldly. It does feel old.
That's right.
Underneath the violin almost sounded like I don't know Jack, but it sounded like a waltz to me. If you listen under the violin, under the strings.
Will you play it again?
Sure. Allow me to put up the gameplay.
Yeah. Huh.
So that kind of plucky, the blue doo doo doo, blue doo doo doo, blue doo doo doo. Underneath the kind of more, distinct string section to me sounds like a waltz.
But like, look at the castle in the distance, and like you think about it, isn't that the one where you fight the Great Wall? You fight the wall, the book, isn't there? Don't you fight a bookcase?
Yeah. Let's see, because there's also
I always
hard
get the
mode
Anti-Tower
back
and the
then.
Great Global Library confused.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because the bosses in this is the Anti-Tower.
doll.
That's the one with the Ziggy Stardust reference. Ziggy's the second boss. And the giant doll is the final boss.
And then there's the frogs.
Yes,
the frogs.
Zero Rago is the first boss.
I can't believe you remember the names. That is.
I have the wiki open right now.
Oh, like wow, that is seriously impressive.
Yeah.
But so that's the thing. So like in that piece of music, like it would be so weird if it was not that or whatever direction that they chose to go in. Not to say that it'd be wrong, but it certainly wouldn't fit. And this is the whole argument with the idea of like in my video game music is classical. I changed the title because I do that constantly. But when you think about it, if video game music is programmatic meaning it's program music, it's there to help the listener or the audience member have an emotional response to what they're seeing or what they're hearing. Video game music, it's almost more like an opera than it is like a symphonic work, because it's aiding in telling a story. That dungeon's more impactful, and you immediately know where you are. Oh, Victorian Europe. Okay, turn of the century. Okay, well, not right now. It's not true. But Victorian Europe. I'm at some sort of ball, and you hear that. That doesn't answer your question at all, but I think it's pretty interesting how you can extrapolate that. You hear it. You just have to like. I don't know how people that haven't studied opera for 10 years do it, but everybody can do it.
No, and that's what you've showcased, which I think is amazing. Like kind of mentioned with costuming there, like these are things we're able to gleam, but so often, perhaps because of our own nerves, or it could just be, we kind of have like a magical sense of, certainly in American society, where they're great because they were born magical. Like science, they woke up when they were 4 years old and said, "What is a star?" And like their life was demanded by this. Like we tend to ignore practice.
I get very angry at the term like gifted.
Yes,
like, it's like no,
gifted.
Everyone practice. Everyone like, oh, I don't have any talent. It's like no, you just like with art. It's like no, you just stop drawing at some point. Well, like if you kept with it, you'd be good.
And I grew up in that society too. Like it was, you try things once, you try to hit the soccer ball and you miss, and people go, well, you just don't have, the natural gift for it. And so you'd sort of bounce around activities and eventually hit something you sort of got lucky on the first time, and people would start encouraging that, and you become this basically a YouTube algorithm of sorts. Like you're absorbing the encouragement and the clicks as the adults go, good job. No, not that direction. And so I think a lot of times when we critique something that we're not well in the know about, we think, well, I'm just going to call it bad because that puts up a wall in front of me. That allows, well, you're the expert, but to me, it's bad. But what you've showcased here is that you can explore something in a very organic and sensible way without needing big keywords. You can talk about a harpsichord and what that emulates to you.
Well, and especially because we're not dealing with music from like the Baroque time period, which is just written for the sake of being written, because that's what they did. They just like wrote music and you went to watch it. And it's really interesting. Like I think about Mozart and Die Zauberflöte, for instance, the magic flute. Like when it's called a Singspiel, and it's a German word for Spiel means to talk. Talking, singen is to sing, and so the
comes from
Singspiel. Yeah, Spiel. Yeah, probably. Make sure I'm right. I think I'm right. But it's like in Mozart's time when he wrote Die Zauberflöte, like that was a musical comedy, and people were like ruckus during this time. Like they were theaters as we know them, this like sort of stuffy, like contrived experience. I mean, imagine I went to go see the Book of Mormon the other day, and the couple behind me was just like incessantly speaking, and I was like, I spent so much money on this damn thing. Shut the, but like, I can't even imagine being a patron during Mozart's time and like having like beer everywhere and like, oh, Spiel is a game. Excuse me, I don't speak German. I'm just kidding. But it's just funny. What was the point of that? Shit, I don't remember.
It seems like, I'm also seeing an article about etymology saying Spiel has also, like, it kind of has evolved into an English meaning through both German and Yiddish.
Oh, interesting.
But again, this is quick Googling and not a full-on deep dive into the factoids.
What was the point of that? Oh, the point of that was to say, like, oh, well, ultimately, my point was to say that you can feel, and it's about like tapping into like an emotion. So like when you listen to a piece that you really like, and I think it helps if it's a piece you really like, to really like if you know that the song is sad to you, like at a very basic level, you're like, why do I like this? Well, it makes me feel sad. Okay. How do I then like place myself in a moment that how do I go deeper into that like sort of superficial emotion, happy, sad, angry, right? The very basics. And obviously the shades of gray, then we've got like all sorts of different definitions for how we feel thanks to the English language in general. So like if I know it makes me sad, do I feel agony? Do I feel a sense of angst? Do I feel depressed? Like finding like the like if the umbrella term is sad, then I go down and I look at the different terms. Those different terms have different meanings for us. So you can like sort of deep dive into emotion by thinking of, I don't know, it's hard, but it's all emotion.
Picking up where you're laying down.
Yeah,
it makes a lot of sense of like kind of find, like you said, the umbrella term, and then see how much further you can kind of take that to define maybe a more specific explanation of what you're trying to describe.
Well, and I know that from like the miser technique, which in acting is like, don't ever say sad. Like you don't feel sad. That is too big. You have to identify it, as you're saying.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Freaking Meisner. But like, it's like, if you look at, I had a teacher that we did Meisner, and it was always like, no, that's not right. I'm like, what do you mean sad isn't right, you son of a bitch?
It's picky. It's picky for sure.
Don't tell me I'm not sad.
I don't remember either if that's the emotionally safe one, for lack of better. Because there was an acting where you were supposed to only pull from yourself and your own experiences, which is bad. You should.
That's Stanislavski.
Yeah. Yes. Do not double down and focus on your own history to make up emotions for a fake happening on screen. Or instead, you want to make up imaginary happenings that you can feel those emotions too, so you don't traumatize.
Some people should tell that to some YouTube commenters.
Well, we all bring our experiences, and we're all part of the adult algorithm in the end.
Someone said they like the unhinged version of me. This is me, baby. I give you the professorial YouTube channel, but I've started like I'm trying to be very careful about not dropping F-bombs and stuff, but I swear incessantly in my normal life. But like, like I'll be like no. But also think about like happiness, right? Like happiness. We're about to go deep here, folks. Let's just strap in. So like we have happiness, and I think people spend their entire lives chasing happy. But the reality is that like happiness has many different feelings. There's peacefulness, there's contentment, there's joy, there's exuberance. And so like allowing oneself to listen to whatever piece and deep dive into like, oh my gosh, this song feels like the rising of the sun, or wow, when I think of a piece, Morgan by Richard Strauss, and it basically, the whole piece, it's so quiet, and it literally sounds like Morgan means morning, and you literally like can see the sun rising, and it's this beautiful poem. I can't remember all the details of what it means, but like you have to be so gentle when you sing it, and you can, like a whisper, a piece of music can. It's just a tapestry of emotion, and I think like allowing oneself to really feel. And I think that that's really hard in our society, but it's like unlocking the key to your heart and like releasing that shit. I think about like Hopes and Dreams from Undertale, like that song slaps, and it's like this incredible feeling of like release when I hear it. And anyway, that's anybody can do it, and you don't have to be an opera singer for a decade or a musician for X amount of years or whatever, like, or you don't even have to be an artist, but you just feel that shit, man.
That's very beautiful. That's awesome.
Thanks.
I got lost in just listening to your explanation there. That was great.
Oh, stop.
So what you're saying is that Final Fantasy music overall is good because it's on brand. Like it matches what you are feeling, experiencing, and that's why maybe it has that high regard.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, so the reason why I actually went into music was because of Nobuo Uematsu, and I used to have this, I really like covers, and I really like, not all covers, but I really like piano covers especially. And I had this CD of the piano collections of Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 and 10 music. But I'm very partial to 9. Like I'm obsessed with 9. Besides Quina, I don't love that whole. I don't like blue mages. I have a thing with blue mages. But nothing personal, obviously. But that music. There's just something about what's it called from Final Fantasy 9.
I think you have a noise gate that's cutting you off sometimes when you sing.
Oh, that's because of the pitch.
Yeah, Discord gets confused. It thinks it's outside noise, not a human voice, which is awesome.
Maybe da 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 da. Is that better?
Make it sound more like
the lower register. It won't.
You're too good. You don't sound like a person anymore.
Discord, find your way. Not find your way. It's gosh, I can't remember. But anyway, like again, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, Final Fantasy music. Yeah, so I think what's amazing about Final Fantasy 14 is that it plays into, and I think it's why the only MMO that I've ever really liked is because it plays into the nostalgia factor, because this is like, we're talking like what, 35 years, this year is 35 years of Final Fantasy music. And so it's that, plus just like, I mean, like God, Shinryu's theme, holy hell, you know?
To me, it's because I didn't grow up with it. I played 10, didn't beat 10. I've talked about this before. It's something I very much now want to go get back to because I think it's hilarious that I didn't grow up with Final Fantasy and now here I am making videos about the MMO. But playing through 14, it's just an embarrassment of riches. There's just so much of it. So many tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that you go and you try and find a track and you think, this is easy enough. I'll go to the soundtrack for that expansion and clearly the music will be in there. No, it might be on the next expansions because it was like in a 0.1
yeah.
patch. It didn't make the original soundtrack. Like there's just so much. So I think also like there's just so much music that there's something for everyone. There's going to be a track that resonates with you, like regardless if you're into that style of music or not. And also like they're totally fine completely switching it up and doing a completely different style. Like all of the video game music, we've talked about Final Fantasy 14 music a lot today, and everything we've talked about has had a traditional instrumentation of some sort. There's probably stringed instruments, wind instruments, and percussion used in some case, and that's everything we've talked about today. We have not brought up the primals yet. Like, you could go from the anti-tower, and then in your next like trial roulette, you're gonna get Titan, and you're gonna listen to a full-on rock song. And they exist in the same game. And I think part of it, I talked about this a little bit. I think it was part of my aversion to Final Fantasy 14 in the beginning. Because I would just look at screenshots and I'm just like, it just looks like a mess. There's like robots and chocobos but like traditional medieval knights. What's going on? But when you actually play, and the music is the same way, I think. If I had actually sat down and listened to a shuffle of Final Fantasy 14 music, I probably would have been like, seriously, what the hell is this game on drugs? Like, what's going on with the tonal and stylistic shifts between the music? But when you actually experience the game, when you go through it and you play it and you kind of meet it on its terms, and if you are grinding gear, you play through it slower than anyone in documented history has played through the game. It all makes sense. There's like almost never a point where I think, oh my God, I can't believe that's what you went with. Like every time
the rock battle music for random encounters in Shadowbringers.
Oh,
like we are in a world that is.
I don't love it
when it first starts going, and like so that's my question. That's my follow-up question: is what is that conveying? Because to me, we're on a dying world, zombie apocalypse almost, and yet our battle theme is so energetic.
Can you play it for me really quick?
Let me see if I can.
I have an idea. So like the thought is, "You Are Not Alone" was absolutely the song You're Not Alone. I think that the reason why that track is the way it is, if I'm thinking about the one I'm thinking about and not the next expansion's Man in the Room version, is, it's this one, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Is this the beginning of the track?
Yeah. So I think it's because of the Sin Eaters. And I think that the like stakes, in some ways, I think that the stakes are so much higher on the first. For whatever reason, like I think about like what's it called? The empty. Oh my God! It's been a while since I played Shadowbringers. Like to me, that battle music signifies like the pressure of the Sin Eaters in that space. But also don't forget that music is I'm right, because guess what? Music, you can have your own interpretation. So like you could have a totally different interpretation and that would be right. It's my favorite clapback. I can't be wrong. But seriously, like that in my mind, because I obviously listen to that a lot, and to me that sounds like also if you think about like aesthetics, like Shadowbringers like has this sort of metal, even this theme song, it could also just be an extension of the main theme, right?
Sure.
Like there's an aesthetic here that feels very I think about like, the Dark Knight with the sword, and like, so for me it's like, yeah. So that's my interpretation anyway. I don't know why it sounds like that. It certainly isn't Stormbloods or Heaven's Words. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm starting to think I might have battle music turned off because I didn't even recognize. I like the very beginning of it with just the octave power chords, because it's very Pillows Fully Cooley sounding. Like I love that sound. That's great. Now I'm like, wait, do I even have battle music turned on? Because I don't recognize that track.
You know what's also really cool about Soken and the team in general is that, like, I was thinking about Eternal Winds, which is the Crystarium and Grahatia's, not his theme, but Grahatia's like there are moments where it plays, and it's from Final Fantasy 3. 3? 5? 3. And what's insane is that it, per usual, Soken will take a melody that is very well known in the Final Fantasy sort of musical lexicon and will add this sort of like his own spin to it, which is really cool because it is incredible. I mean, it's incredible. So the first one in Final Fantasy III, it's incredibly orchestrated, and it's lovely. And then when it comes in, da 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 ya da da. Wait, damn it! I want to sing.
Saying, don't Google it, Kyle.
Don't Google it.
Don't Google. Oh, probably because it plays all the time over all kinds of things.
Oh yes. Sorry.
Oh, that's all good. The one I found is the one I found is safe. This is Grahati up in the tower, staring at his hand with all the SIDS and whatnot hanging out.
And so like, oh yeah, this is from it's so good. Oh, it's amazing. So that's amazing. And that's actually different from the fully orchestrated version that appears in the Final Fantasy III. I think it's the 3DS. I think it's actually in the remasters, but like something subtle like that where they'll take it and just adjust it slightly, and it has a different like energy to it. And it's amazing how music can just like, you just tweak it slightly and it has a totally different emotional context just from the soundscape. It's cool stuff.
There's a lot of examples of like it's like memed on now, the overuse of like the stripped down piano version of the theme song of the 90s movie that is getting a sequel reboot. Like in the trailer, like they've done it for Star Wars, they've done it for Indiana Jones, they've done it for Ghostbusters. Where it's just like one you've got one single stick to play a piano with, so you're doing one key at a time and it's slow and it's
my god, you're right. Da, 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 da. Just like, all right, move this shit along. I know
exactly. The worst one is the melancholy whistle of Indiana Jones in the more recent stuff. You're just like, oh come on.
And they just let it trail off.
Yeah.
And then 97-year-old Harrison Ford says something, and then they come back in with a dun, dun, dun.
I'm tired.
Exactly.
I'm too old for this ship.
Exactly. All right. So we told you 90 minutes. We're at 90 minutes, Marco. How are you doing on time?
I think I'm good. Hang on. Let me just check what I have a live stream I'm doing of Monster Hunter World.
Sweet.
Yeah. Let me just check what time that's at. I think it's at 5. I'm fine. If you guys want to keep chatting, I'm good. Whatever you want to do.
Want to take a few questions before we wrap up?
Yeah, we'll squeeze in some questions.
Cool.
Of course.
Cool. Well, these came to us from our wonderful Grinding Gear community. Pulled these from our members. Shout out to everybody supporting us on Patreon over at supportourbromance.com or supporting us on YouTube if you're a YouTube member. You both get access to the same members only chat in our Discord. That's the perk. That's how it works. And Wild Runner started us off, said, what attracted you to the Grinding Gear community and what made you stick around? We're gonna make you compliment us.
I love hopping into your chats every time I see you guys live, just because I think, you two have, well, look, I mean, a channel lives and dies by who's in it and who hosts it, who runs it. And you guys have such like a great energy between the two of you. And like, it's obvious, we were talking about that at the very beginning of this thing. Like you guys, you just have a really good synergy and it's really fun to watch. And also I'm always interested in what was I can't remember what the first thing I saw you guys doing was. I think it was.
I'm always curious how people find us, and like not an ego thing. I'm like analytics. Like, how'd you find us? What was it? What broke through?
Yeah, I think it was like Heaven's Word stuff.
Okay, so that was a while ago.
It was a while ago, and I was like, oh, these guys are cool. What are they doing? Oh, wow, they're playing through. Oh, they're playing because I think I was really impressed because there were like a ton of people in here, and I was like, whoa, they have a ton of people in here. What are they talking about? And that was the first time that I saw you guys. But yeah, like the synergy is awesome, and that's how I find y'all. That's how I found y'all.
Awesome.
and that's why I stick around. Although I left the Discord, nothing personal. I don't like having too many Discords. So like,
fair.
I literally cannot have more than 5. I have 5 Discord servers, and I just do not go. I have mine, which is enormous, and that's it. Like I just, so nothing personal.
There are 2 kinds of people. There's Marco and there's me, where I never leave a Discord. There's just an endless vertical scroll of things.
Oh my
I never
God.
go to again.
That's
Madman.
awful. I just can't. I can't even imagine.
I feel bad leaving. So whenever I go to Discord, the first thing I do is mute everything. All notifications are turned off on new Discords. So I just never noticed them again. So sorry. Sorry. Thank you, man. That's
oh
awesome.
yeah, of course.
Midnight wants to know if being a professional musician ever got in the way of your enjoyment of music in video games.
No, it's only enhanced it, actually.
That's
now,
right.
live performances, yes, it has ruined pretty much every live performance. Because I'm always thinking. Well, I saw the Book of Mormon last week, and I had the time of my life. I was laughing, but well, besides the people behind me. But and I turned to the person I was with, my girlfriend, and I was like, are they having fun, you think? Like, because I'm having a great time, but I know that I've been in their shoes, and I have thought that I've had to just sell it, and I was having a miserable time. So are they having fun? Like that kind of stuff. Like I get all like, and then yeah. So, but no, in terms of video games, no. I woke up this morning, guys. This is gonna sound weird and stupid, but also amazing. I woke up, and for the first time in a very long time, maybe it's because I'm medicated, but I woke up and I was like, I love my life. And I've never said that before. And certainly not in the last 3 years during the course of my dad's illness. Like I woke up at 5:30 and I was like, man, I got the podcast today. I'm streaming Monster Hunter. Like, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I talk about video game music for a living. You know what I mean? Like, and I get auditions from my agent. Like, that's yeah. So,
I know you say you've never said it before, but I'm sure you've had days where you're just feeling, you're just vibing, right? Like maybe you don't declare it to yourself, but you have your vibe days.
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but I've got my ups and downs. I love it.
1,000,000%.
I'm very thankful for days like that where you're just like,
where it just feels good and you're firing on all cylinders, and you're just like,
yeah. I attribute it to rest. I think it's if I'm well rested, I think I'm prepared enough to take stock and be thankful of everything. And if I'm not well rested, there's going to be that one comment that like a bullet finds the one.
You son of a!
Yeah, it's through. You're just like and just like being aware of that. Like it's really important to pat yourself on the back as much as it is to like, I think, let yourself know, like, yeah, I'm in a vulnerable state. You should also admit that to yourself because it can kind of help you deal with the day.
Well, I think that there's something. Oh, hey, Jesse. There's something about and I don't know how old you guys are, and it doesn't matter. But like mid-30s, yeah, okay. So there's something in the mid-30s that happens where it's like, oh, and I don't know, like yeah, when you're in your mid-30s, there's like a shift, but sleep in the mid-30s. Oh man, I miss the days where I could go to bed at 2 and wake up at 8 and be like, I'm refreshed, motherfucker. And now I'm like, if I go to bed past 11:30, I'm like, I can't see straight. It's like,
yeah, I will every once in a while though, like because I have no choice, or we have an MSQ stream that goes till people are still mad that we didn't go to 2 a.m. I every once in a while I still have a bad night's sleep where I wake up and I'm like, I'm good, but it's very random. It's like a critical hit on my sleep. I get lucky.
I know.
But yeah, it's the ebb and flow of putting yourself out there, you know.
I think so too.
Comes and it goes. Continuing on with some questions from our Discord, D wants to know, said, when analyzing music, is there a specific element of music production that you look for, or are you pleasantly surprised when you hear it used?
I really like when full orchestra is used. I'm not like I don't love synthesized instruments because it's very obvious to me. Maybe it's obvious to everybody, but it's very obvious, and Like the Eorzean Symphony stuff, really, I watched listened to some of it on YouTube, and like the live version or the live orchestrated version of Something You Haven't Seen Yet. And oh my God, like it just is amazing. And I love seeing Soken's music translated to full orchestra. And that's one of the reasons I love Genshin so much. And so yeah, when that pops in and I hear like a fully orchestrated or like a chorus or like opera singing, boom! Oh man, I'm all for it. But yeah,
Oh, you can't beat that weight either of like being in person, having to like tuba rattle your spine and your chest, and it's a different thing.
But also you hear that in the FromSoft music too. Like the FromSoft music hits because it's fully orchestrated.
Oh, that was what was it? Dragon Quest X that they redid for the remaster with the full orchestra.
11, wasn't it? I think it was 11.
Yeah, it was 11. Yeah, that made a huge difference. Like it really did.
Yeah, I don't even like Dragon Quest, and I was like, damn, this is good.
Different genre, but I vividly remember going to my first punk show in my early teens, and they're doing sound check, and they turn the volume up on the drums, and the tech just does one bass hit, and my chest vibrates. And I'm just oh, this is gonna be loud. Like you feel your clothes move.
Yeah,
and that's why I can't hear that well out of my right ear. Yeah.
Oh God.
Wear earplugs to hardcore shows, kids. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And then Arathane wanted to know which opera you think has been the most fun to perform.
Tosca. I love Tosca. I didn't even feel like I had to act. I played the character that the tenor sings as Mario Cavaradossi, and it takes place in Rome, in the Renaissance-ish time period, and there's a really fantastic villain in Baron Scarpia, and it is fantastic, and it's really messed up actually, and there's murder, and there's other things that are triggering, but like there's a lot of love, there's passion. It's incredible. Tosca. If you've never seen an opera before, I gotta say, La Bohème, Carmen, Barber of Seville. See that? Absolutely. Tosca is amazing. I think that's a very good second opera, and then you move on from there. Like Richard Strauss being at the very bottom. But like Ariadne of Naxos is also another. Just oh my God, it's a play within a play. In the first act, they're like, what the hell are we doing? Oh God, we have to put an opera, but now we double booked this comedian troupe and this really serious opera group, and then they fight, and then in the second half they combine the two, and it's insane. It's awesome.
Sounds like an episode of the Muppets. That's great.
Yeah, but it is. It's crazy, and it's like purposefully drawn out and long and boring the second half, because Strauss was trying to then when the comedians come in. I love Ariadne of Naxos is one of my favorite operas, but yeah, definitely Tosca for performance.
It's freaking rad. Yeah, I know nothing about opera, so having a first recommendation is helpful.
Bohème is the must go for starters.
Rad. Well, thank you everybody for sending your questions in. Keep them coming. We've got a channel. It's questions for the hosts, and usually if we have a guest, we'll let y'all know. We'll ping you with a little notification to drop some questions in there. We got time for one more. I'll take Solomon here. It's a Final Fantasy specific. Or, well, I guess not so much. But anyway, Solomir wanted to know how you feel about boss songs with lyrics and what they add or can take away from the experience of fighting a boss in a game.
I love when we have lyrics because there is so much subtext. Well, so there's two different kinds of lyrics. There's like gibberish lyrics where it sounds like they're saying things. That happens a lot. And then there's like Latin lyrics, usually is what I've experienced. And it's just insane. And I think there's something about the humanity and the human voice. Like when you get a choir just ripping big fat tacos. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm sorry, but Ultima like is more badass because there's a chorus. And when you get like that sound, like, oh my gosh, there's just something about like a full chorus just ripping while there's an orchestra, or they're doubling an orchestra. I mean, here's another opera reference, and then I'll talk, and then I'll stop it out. But Peter Grimes, there's a witch hunt against Peter Grimes because he is in trouble and the town has decided to turn against him, mob mentality. And they all stand around and they all sing, Peter Grimes, Peter Grimes. And there's silence. And all you hear is like an 80-person chorus screaming this man's name at the top of their lungs. And it is terrifying. And the power of the human voice is so mesmerizing. So for me, I love when there's a chorus. And I think of, of course, there's a million examples in Final Fantasy XIV, but also I think of Lawrence the First Vicar from Bloodborne. I think of Ludwig and the Holy Blade. I think of the Unsung War from Ace Combat 5. I think of course, Ultima. Or even not even in a boss battle, but in Stormblood, Azim Step. Na da ya da 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 da. That track is so much better because of the vocals. I'm done talking. What time is it? Jeez.
So I'm gonna end every podcast. Cal will be mid-thought, and I'll be like, "I'm done talking.
I'm done talking,
we'll
everybody."
Start the outro music.
All right.
So we'll do it. Well, thank you so much for how much you weren't done talking for the last hour and 40+ minutes there, Marco.
Gosh.
Thank you for your time today. This has been a really cool look into the music side of I was going to say video games, but we didn't stop at just video games.
Thanks for having me on. It means a lot. You guys are awesome, and
this was fun as hell.
You should be so proud of yourselves, of this community that you've created and the following. And I mean, I saw you're playing through this game, like 2,000+ people watching you just play. Like, that's amazing. And it's a big deal. And a lot of people want to do it, can't do it, aren't able to do it, or it's not sustainable. And you guys are sustaining, and you're killing it. So just ride that wave.
Thank you. Back at you. Back at you. Like,
oh, thanks.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I appreciate that.
I'm excited to see what you get up to here.
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
Are you going to FanFest?
I don't know. I hope so. I want to.
I'm a little worried about tickets. I have no idea.
I know, that's the problem.
Ever.
Yeah.
I had the BlizzCon. I had that on lockdown. I knew exactly how to get tickets. And eventually was blessed enough not to have to worry about it.
We'll hang out if we do, if it all works out.
We'll have to meet you at the Primal show.
Hell yeah.
I'll be one of the many people waving glow sticks, I'm sure. Well, before we leave, we just want to also thank our wonderful patrons for supporting us on Patreon. If you like what Kyle and I put together, whether it's this or the streams or the videos, or you think our tweets are somewhat funny, check out supportourbromance.com. That will take you directly to our Patreon, where folks like GCBM recently became a patron. So thank you so much, G. Just going to go with G. And there's also a special level of patrons we thank each and every episode. Those are our legendary level backers. So Sean B, Mike R, Stephen J, Wayra E, Das, Cheesy Bob, Sean with an EAB, and Vextress. Thank you very much for your support. We appreciate it so very, very much. Before we go, Marco, if folks don't know where to find you, where can folks find you on the internet?
YouTube.com/MarcoMeatball. I would come and watch everything and the Final Fantasy videos.
You also have a delightful Twitter folks should follow.
Yeah, Marco D.
Meatball.
Oh, where are you streaming? Where's the stream?
On YouTube.
Okay, good to know, because the people, they assume Twitch. So
only YouTube. Only YouTube.
Link.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of folks assume we're on Twitch. We're like, nope. Right here on
Nope.
YouTube.
Nope. That's a whole bag of worms right there.
We tried it. We tried it. Yeah. For a while.
Keep it all in one place.
Until the algorithm comes for you. But that'll be a conversation for next time. I'm on Kyle's on Twitter at Kyle Ferguson. I'm at Garrett Art. We have a joint account at Garrett and Kyle on Twitter where you can see show updates and go in live notifications. Everything else can be found on our YouTube channel. Check out youtube.com/AMoveTV because they won't let me rename that URL. So youtube.com/AMoveTV. All of our grinding gear stuff. Just put up our most recent Shadowbringers video yesterday. It's doing quite well. Thank you for watching it, everybody. Please keep watching it. Keep it in that #1 slot. It is in the #1 slot for the last month of releases. Thank you for watching. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Grinding Gear Podcast. Until next time, GG.
Take care.